If I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of white women have romanticized who their fathers were in comparison to who they are. Let me explain. So, as a lot of you know, I am the creator of the Empathy Scorecard and the principal consultant at PCQ Consulting, where I help companies with culture, DEI, with an emphasis on empathy, management training. But I also do one on one coaching and mentorship. And I do that with a lot of white women. And what has been consistent in those coaching and mentorship is the neglect that white women and judgment white women feel from their fathers. And whether that's their fathers are left of center or right of center, there is a lot of emotional neglect that white women experience at the hands of their fathers. Now, when you think about your father in comparison to who they are now, because Trump and his ilk is so extreme, I think you can romanticize who your dad was and to some degree who your parents were pre-Trump, right? Because in comparison to Trump, you long for that dad. You long for that version of your parent. And this is where I talk about the empathy piece is needed for white women, right? Because as you romanticize that conservative version of your father that you think you're getting back, do you ever consider who your father, even in their conservatism, have been to people who are not you, who are not white, who are not now liberal? Who was your conservative father to black women and black people and the rights that we have been fighting for? Who has your conservative father been to immigrants? Who has your conservative father been to women? So while you romanticize your conservative moderate father, because the version of him now is so extreme from the one you had, the one you have romanticized, who was your father to everybody else? Now, one of the things about whiteness and racism specifically is that racism functions purely because a lot of white people truly lack empathy and the ability to see anybody else as equally deserving of humanity and rights as them. They lack that deeply. But also what perpetuates and fuels it is the lies white people tell about racism and the racists in their lives. And so as they are talking about getting their dads back, I promise you they have erased the racism, the prejudice, right? The xenophobia, the homophobia that their conservative, moderate fathers had, because they get to have the romanticized version of who their father, who they believe, or even to some degree wanted their fathers to be. It feels like a second chance at a romanticized man that never really existed for them. I did a TikTok imploring white men to not just be physically present in their daughters' lives, but to be emotionally available. White women are emotionally starved by their white fathers. And so what I'm seeing online is not the dads they think they had. It's the dads they always wanted.